night. They hide in the dark and rise from the shadows. They can never feel the warmth of living human blood in their veins. Their bodies are cold and dead. Dracula versus Frankenstein. Who serves the dead. A dead man who controls the doctor and a living creature horribly created from the mangled corpses of their victims. Dracula versus Frankenstein. His blood is cold, but his mind is keen. He cannot die, for he is already dead. His name is Dracula. Another lives, but his body belongs to the dead. The two will join forces, but only one will survive. Dracula versus Frankenstein. Oakmoor Cemetery is a cold, lifeless place to visit at night. Unless you're already dead, and your name is Dracula. Together in one film, they meet in a fight of fright. The kings of horror battle to the death. Dracula versus Frankenstein.
Winter's coming.
South. Groundhog says a terrible blizzard's coming.
Go on. That guy don't know his shadow from a hole in the ground.
You'll freeze to death if you stay here.
And you won't have any food either.
Don't worry about me. I got plenty of food. And right now, I'm going swimming.
I'm that hungry little kitty cat you just read about. I'm so hungry I could eat a woodpecker. Yeah, that's it.
Pardon me, buddy. That's probably the grocery man. Come in. You're just in time for dinner.
Yeah? What are you gonna have for dinner?
I'm gonna have catfish.
Yeah?
Let me take your scarf.
You know, I think that pigeon tried to choke me.
You must be pretty cold, buddy.
No, I ain't cold.
Oh, yes, you are. Step over by the fire and get warm for dinner. Oh, boy. Feline fricassee. You missed me.
Now, my fine pigeon, I'm going to pick you dry. Mmm. Mice.
Moose.
Meat. That was pretty good. But you know I'm still hungry.
Yeah? So am I.
But he doesn't understand. There's a curse upon me. I change into a wolf.
Listen to me, Frank. I saw my father become obsessed by his power. He died a horrible death.
There's no need for us all to storm after her. She'll come in if I ask her. Why should we treat her so fancy? She's a Frankenstein.
Good evening, goblins and ghouls, and welcome to the Friday Night Scream Stream. I am your host, Garrett Spake, aka Spakenstein. I'm joined by my very good friend, Mr. Evan Sink.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
Good evening out there to all of you. I hope you're doing well out there across the ether, enjoying your Friday. The weekend is finally here for some of you. Some of you have to work for the weekend, and we feel for
Womp,
you. Womp womp. Evan being one of those poor unfortunate
that's
souls.
Me. That's
but
me.
We're happy. We're happy that you're spending your Friday night with us, right? Even if you got to work tomorrow, taking the time to just sit here with us and enjoy some cheesy movies.
We can still pretend it's Friday.
Exactly. You kick back a couple drinks, you watch a bad movie,
then sleep it off and go to work in the morning.
That's what Friday's all about, right? I mean, we're going to find out. We'll find out tonight. Anyway, hope everybody's doing good. Ready for some scares tonight with our film Jesse James Meets Frankenstein's Daughter. And it's from 1966. Just by the title, I really shouldn't even have to tell you what this film is about, because I think the title pretty much speaks for itself.
I don't know. You might have to spell it out for us.
Yeah, well, so there was this outlaw, Jesse James. There's this fiction. No, so
Well,
you're gonna see for yourselves.
Okay. Well, can I actually ask a question?
Absolutely.
So, which Frankenstein are we talking about? Is it the monster's daughter or is it the doctor's daughter?
So, very, very good point. And this is also something just to kind of give you guys a little information. I'm an amateur Frankenstein scholar. I've, for years studied Frankenstein, loved Frankenstein. This is a hot topic issue.
Yeah, where do you fall on the Frankenstein v. Frankenstein debate?
I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys, if you've watched our last couple episodes, you're going to find times where I say Frankenstein, and I'm referring to Frankenstein's monster. And I'd say, in theory, a fairly strict adherent to the idea. There's Frankenstein's monster, and there's Frankenstein who's the doctor. And if you're talking about the monster, it's Frankenstein's monster. And if you're talking about the doctor, you're just saying, the human being, you're just saying Frankenstein.
But when are you ever really talking about the doctor? Like, for a story, a movie, and a book that is called Frankenstein, it's about the monster.
Well, in this case, the titular Frankenstein of this movie, as in Frankenstein's daughter, is Frankenstein the doctor. As opposed to, this isn't the monster's daughter, this is... And that's not even right either. I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys now, this title is wrong. It's misleading. It's actually Frankenstein's granddaughter.
Oh, great.
But that would have made an already long title pretty... it already doesn't roll off the tongue well at all. Jesse James Meets Frankenstein's Daughter. It's a lot for me to think about to make sure that I'm getting it all out.
Jesse James Meets Frankenstein's daughter's daughter.
Right. Technically, that's what it should be. Anyway, 1966 horror western, which is a whole genre in and of itself. The director of this film was the director of last week's film, Voodoo Man, William Bodine. This was the last film that he ever directed. He did some TV after that, but we'll get in more to him. But this is your classic B, low budget horror western drive-in movie. So we're gonna have a lot of fun with it tonight. I think you guys are gonna love it. Evan, I know, has been very excited.
Yeah, I've been excited for this one. I've been waiting with a title like this.
Right. We don't get these moments very often. So, because sometimes we get titles that sound cool and then the movie in no way relates to the title. I can guarantee you here that what you see is what you get. What you see with the title is what you're going to get in the movie. So, buckle in. Settle in tonight. We're gonna be kicking it back, drinking games. You guys may or may not be aware that we have a new segment created by our very own Evan Sink called "What Were You Drinking?" So I'm going to turn it over to Evan here, and go ahead and introduce the segment, Evan.
All right. What were you drinking? You have to say it like that, or else the pun doesn't make as much sense. So what we're doing here is every week I'm trying to, just in the spirit of trying new things, these are all movies that I've never seen, so hey, why not try a drink that I've never tried? So this week's thematic cocktail is The Outlaw, coming to us courtesy of the internet. If any cocktail site out there wants to sponsor us, we'll say it by name, but until then, hey. So The Outlaw is made with whiskey and fortified wine. I've got some lemon juice, some simple syrup, some aromatic bitters, some orange triple sec, and a little grenadine for a little bit of cherry flavor. So just like any good...
A real cowboy
drink. Yeah.
Real
just all
cowboy.
the stuff you would have just, around the fire. And like any good cooking show, I made it before we started recording, but so I'm just gonna pretend that I'm shaking this up.
He's making it right now.
Yeah, let me just pour a few things and
No, this is fresh. This is as fresh as it gets. Don't let anybody fool you. Yeah, no, definitely the kind of drink that you'd be drinking out on the range, with put a little bit of cacti in there, and give it that little extra kick.
All right.
Heck yeah, I'm excited.
Here you go, Garrett.
All right.
And cheers to the stream. Cheers to the movie.
Cheers to The Outlaw. Cheers to Jesse James Meets Frankenstein's Daughter.
Bottoms up.
Ooh, that's got a...
It's got a little bit of a kick to it, but it's got a good
flavor. And then now the cherry's kicking in. It's a little...
Yeah, there's a few different kinds of fruit in there. So
man, I like that. That's got some spice, some kick.
Yeah, you really get the whiskey in that, but it's not. So I'm really not a whiskey guy.
I feel like I'm being transported right back to the Old West, man. It's taking me back already. I'm ready to...
Well, Back to the Future 3 is a different movie, so...
Yeah, I was sure I was going to be able to brush up on all my Western slang, Old West slang tonight, and of course I'm struggling for...
we got Yeehaw.
Yeehaw, howdy, partners. See, if I would have been really smart, I would have opened the show with, howdy, partners. But I just said it. So if you're joining us now, then
if you're just tuning in,
because
that's a thing that can happen. We're streaming live.
Exactly.
People kind of come in, go.
Tune in, tune out. You're doing stuff. Hey, I mean, we're good to just have on in the background. You don't have to pay attention to us.
Right. Just listen to the soothing sounds of our voices. Don't pay attention to what we're actually saying.
Right. And I mean, and remember also, if you're playing the drinking game, the rules, they're at the bottom of the page. You can click on that on the tab there, and you can download your own poster for the drinking game rules. Again, Evan and I are running a show, so we can't necessarily partake every time, but these are always pretty plentiful. And I would say that if you're playing along, please drink in moderation. We don't want to be responsible for any horrible things.
Yeah, don't stream and drive.
Please don't. Don't stream and drive. Don't drink and drive.
Do stream and drink.
Please. This is a drink along. That's what it's all about. That's what Friday night is all about. Kicking back, having a couple drinks, and watching some cheesy public domain horror. At least on the Scream stream. We're always going to be bringing you the finest. Well, it's not the finest. It's all public domain horror. Whatever's out there, we're going to bring it to you. And so, of course, tonight, very, very proud to be bringing you Jesse James Meets Frankenstein's Daughter. Just one last thing before we get into it, some personal trivia context, which I always like to give when I can for these, if I can remember it. First time I saw this movie, I got it as a gift in a DVD, like public domain 4-movie. It was just one disc, but it had 4 movies on it.
So a box set.
See, it wasn't a box set. It was just one
okay.
DVD case, but it had 2 discs in it. All public domain horror movies. I got it. I was probably 7, 8 years old, but it was a Christmas present, and you know me, I see Frankenstein. I immediately was like, oh my god, I've got to watch this movie first, and of course watched it. And was, you know that it's not what you thought it would be. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you that right now. I mean, when you're a kid, you're expecting. You
see Frankenstein, you expect.
Right. You expect bolts, flat head, green, all these things, and you get some of the classic tropes in here. Don't get me wrong; they're certainly on display, but it takes a little bit of perspective and being a little older to see the charm that a rinky-dink B movie like this has. I'm not gonna call it bad. I don't do that here. Evan, that right is open to him if he wants to call a movie bad. I won't do it. And I'm not gonna call this movie bad, but it has its own charm, and it's certainly a cult film. And we'll get into that a little more. Evan, anything before we get into the film?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, without further ado, Jesse James meets Frankenstein's daughter. Credits already started a little early. It's all right. That's not the Jim Davis right there. Don't get confused, okay? I don't want you to think that the great cartoonist of Garfield had anything to do with this film.
Oh, if only. What year was this?
1966. The first color film we're watching on the stream, we won't get a lot of these. You get like 2 or 3 a season. We'll get 3 this season. Howard W. Koch. You see that name? Howard W. Koch Jr.? He was the president of the Motion Picture Academy a couple years ago.
Oh.
And for those of you who don't know, that's the people who run the Oscars. So he was the guy who was the assistant and the producer on Jesse James Meets Frankenstein's Daughter.
He really rode this wave pretty far.
Right, he did. It also helped that his dad was like a big time producer and did like his dad did like executive produced Airplane or something like that. But he did all these older movies and started in the B like realm and then graduated up. Mr. Bodine. Now that's a pretty cool. That's probably a matte shot. But
I like it. It's very evocative of the Frankenstein castle.
And of course we're in the Old West, so remember that that's some giant castle in the Old West.
Has everyone gone?
Yes, we are the only ones left. Has Juanita returned from the house?
No. She said she would not come back until she saw Francisco and brought him back to us.
That cursed house. Esa maldita casa. Ever since those 2 came here, there's been nothing but death and sorrow.
Our Francisco, how is he?
When we have conversations, we always face the same direction. Because that's the most natural thing. It wasn't because we had a complicated dolly shot that we had to work.
Why? Why must we lose our
I wonder if he's having an outlaw. Probably not. That looks like
he kind of
probably
looks
a
like orange
screwdriver.
juice. Yeah.
God's will. God's will. Was it God's will that Agustin Rojas should die? And that other boy, Jose Alvarez? No. I say no. It's because of them.
She puts a lot into this, I gotta say. She really...
Yeah, that's some emphatic acting.
Well, and there was
great doctors.
There was
Could not
a
save them.
typecast back in that day of the fiery Latin woman, and unfortunately this actress got typecast in that role a lot. She does it well though. Unfortunately, this was her last film. She died the same year that this came out.
Jeez,
So
young.
sad. Yeah.
It has to be buried at once.
I can't remember quite how it happened. But
What shall we do now?
certainly not.
Got caught in the crossfire between an outlaw and the daughter of a mad doctor.
She's not the worst actress in this film. She's also not the most over-the-top actress in this film. We'll see.
So yeah, that looks just like a backdrop, right? It's like a painting.
Yeah, matte painting.
Matte, okay.
Well, that would, if they were going to have some live action and then matte in the background.
Wonderful storm. I congratulate you, dear brother. You were correct in choosing this wild land.
It was not I. It was Professor von Metzler who said in southwest part of America you'll find these electrical storms you need for your experiment.
Of course, it's in America.
The
Midwest.
credit for what you do.
I want no credit for these terrible things we are doing here, Maria. All I want is to go back to Vienna.
Vienna. We will not see an electrical storm there in months. But here the very gods conspire to give them to us all the time.
So do they have somebody like moving those shutters?
No, I probably. They were kind of out of frame. Maybe they had somebody out of frame mover, but I would. A wind machine was they put in this. So yeah, maybe they did. So of course your classic Frankenstein lab here.
Of course.
Gotta have it. Now the helmets are an interesting addition.
Yeah, the colorful helmet.
Yeah, yeah, they're very loud helmets.
Got the electrical coil. Got a bunch of random chemistry equipment.
Yeah, beakers, test tubes.
Yeah, everything's got to be colorful in the movies.
Well, and again, some of this lab equipment, this was the only time, one of the only times it was photographed in color. Because I'll get more into the lab equipment later.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I can do it. I can talk to you about the lab equipment in this movie. It's very, it's just so, there's not a lot of shadows, you know, it's all very bright. It's a very weird creation scene.
Yeah, it's true. You think they would have gone for something a
the
little
lights
moody.
are real low, and yeah, there's shadows and all that. But this was made by like people who were making a lot of TV at the time, so I think that's why there's a lot of flat staging, flat lighting. Probably got multiple angles on things. Although, we're getting a lot of dolly shots, so it's maybe... I'm not going to say it's a lot of one-shots, because the director will refute that he did that.
Reach into the poison cabinet real quick.
So I don't know if it's been communicated yet, or if it's clear, but he's her brother. And she
You took long
is
enough. One would think you did not want him to live.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that...
He seems like he could be her father, but he's her brother.
Right, that's what I was assuming.
Right.
He's dead.
So she didn't realize, she didn't know that that's what, it just injected that dude with poison.
So he's kind of the Igor type.
I've allowed the duosonic impulsator to be attached only to the body. Let's see what grandfather's notation says. You see?
The duothermic impulsator must also be attached to a living brain to transmit living vibrations to the artificial brain.
But such a powerful electric impulse might prove fatal to the brain of a living person.
That chance I am willing to take. It's because we've been forced to use the brains of children that we've failed. What we need is a man, a powerful man, a giant.
Where are they been getting all these kids' brains?
These kids' brains are so weak.
I need a strong brain. I need a real man's brain.
Fresh is in the house.
Fresh is in the house.
What's up, Fresh?
Maria, we already caused the death of 3 children.
You know, I do always love the just like the fictional scientific jargon in movies like this, because you know, when you're watching this as a kid, they say something really crazy, and you're like, okay, that probably means something. That.
This is the last artificial brain grandfather Frankenstein made. The secret of how to make these diamonds. If I fail in this last attempt, I too am willing to die.
Is it so terrible to fail?
You're a fool, Rudolph. We hold the secret of life in our hands.
Maria, this has already cost grandfather his life, and father has never...
Father was a weakling. He dared not try the experiment.
That do anything,
only
Fresh?
on paper. You know, Rudolph, sometimes I think you remind me of father.
What do you want to do next? There's no one else left to experiment
40
on.
bells.
This boy was the last. And his sister Juanita was here demanding to see him.
What did you tell her?
The same as the others. That the boy has a highly contagious disease and cannot be seen.
Good.
Batman was it supposed to be hilarious?
And superstitious. We have nothing to fear from
I
them.
laughed.
When the
and
Lord
I laughed.
finds out that Francisco is
His
dead,
parents
he will
died.
leave,
Oh,
like
it was
the
just
You
a
mean
riot.
you mean like funny
All
ha
alone
ha?
in this
Like funny
wilderness,
how?
in this- I can't stand.
Everything is just right here. The isolation, the electrical storms for the energy we need. I know you want to leave. Well, you can't. Where would you go, Vienna?
If it's
The police
Batman,
are looking for us
do
there.
I amuse you?
Yeah, that was one
None
movie.
of work any better than these peasants. Rudolph, we are safer here than anywhere else. No.
It's all in the
Now
eyes.
that I know what is wrong.
That's exactly what I expect from the Riddler. I don't expect anything else really fresh.
He must be big and strong.
That would make me laugh too.
Whoa.
Here's the giant.
Jeez.
Jeez.
Versus
Good old-fashioned
string bean.
fisticuffs. I have a riddle.
Riddle me this, Batman.
This is the time, Stacey.
Some great stage combat.
Stacey, get up.
Yeah, it's like, where did that punch land? I didn't even, like...
Hank, you better win this.
I
We're
loved
stone
the
broke.
scene in Django
What makes you
Unchained.
think I'm losing, Jesse?
What makes you think I'm losing, Jesse?
Does he talk like
Yeah.
this?
Well, that's that. Nobody's beaten Stacy since I bought this saloon. That's over 10 years ago.
There's always the first time. I'll take that bet money now.
Not so fast. Not so fast. I could have the sheriff lock you two up
He
for
said his line
disturbing the
twice.
peace, but I'll make you a deal. Leave town and I won't press charges.
You better pay up, mister.
Why should I?
Well, for one thing, I beat your man fair and square, I did. For another thing, we need the money real bad.
For a third thing,
for
I'll
another
beat
thing,
the money
man,
out of you.
holding
Look
on.
at this dude.
Honestly,
He's built like
just-
a tank.
I heard that Jesse James was killed up at Northridge.
There are a lot of folks who think that the James boys were wiped out. Well, I'm Jesse, all right.
Yeah, I'm Jesse.
One way to prove. I'll take that bet money.
Yeah, you don't fuck with Jesse James. If you know anything in the open.
No hard feelings. You see, we weren't all killed at Northridge. We've sure been on the run ever since, though. That makes a man hungry. Why, Hank and I haven't had anything to eat since, when was the last time we ate, Hank?
Been one whole day, but seems more like a month.
Hank would have taken your man a lot easier if he'd had his full strength. Now, ain't that right, Hank?
Right.
Yep. How about that steak now?
Now, that's an idea. And we'll pay for it with your money.
Keeps the money moving.
Gotcha, bitch. You don't have any more of that outlaw, do you? That was pretty damn good.
I can make another one.
You have no
No.
right
During the
calling
break,
Jesse
maybe.
James and his boys. This was our deal. My deal, if you come right down to it.
There's
This
plenty
was that
more
big
where that
killing
came
you've
from.
always been telling me about. You know, the one you've never been able to come up with? And now you tell me we ought to split it with Jesse James.
Dang.
If you weren't my brother, I'd really work you over.
Ooh.
Do you think we can pull this deal ourselves? The
Shit,
two of us
man.
have plead out there?
Can't do that lightly.
Well, at least you could have talked it over with me first.
I'm the leader of the Wild Bunch. I ain't talking nothing over with nobody. And if you don't like it, get out.
Just the same, my share is going to be 1/3. Now, you can cut up the rest between you and Jesse James any way you want to, but
Your share is going to be exactly what I say it is. No more, no less.
Westerns, man. So much drama. There's always so
Yeah,
much drama in
so much
Westerns.
male
Like,
drama.
it's crazy what a huge genre it used to be. Like, this is when it's starting to wind down.
Speed signal.
It had already hit its peak with like television, when there were a billion Western shows on TV, and Bonanza, Gunsmoke ran for like 20 years or whatever.
Back when Wild Bill was still in his heyday.
When our good friend Mr. Wild Bill was
Yeah, may he
still.
rest in peace.
Yeah, R.I.P. I'd pour one out if we weren't inside.
You must be Jesse James.
Mm-hmm.
That Hank Tracy?
And you'd be Butch Curry, head man of the Wild Bunch.
That's right. Come on in, Jesse.
Oh, you can't see it, but I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
Stream's over. Pour my drink out on the computer.
Jesse James, my brother Lonnie.
Lonnie?
Pete Ketchum, our lookout.
Pete? Hank Tracy. Yeah. Lonnie?
Hi.
Pete.
Hi.
Well, this is a bunch. We got hit at St. Joe, Liberty, and Little Blue.
This sure is
We
a
lost 11
wild
men in all.
bunch.
I can't hardly believe the famous Wild Bunch is down to 3 men.
I don't think the
We're the
James
Wild
boys
Bunch.
are doing
We're
much
wild.
better. Frank James hiding out in Kentucky as a preacher. And I hear the real Jesse James was shot to death.
Seems everybody is trying to make me a corpse. Well, I don't like it. You trying to make me a liar?
No
Hair
harm.
trigger, man.
No harm at all. It's just that there's a lot of four-flushers around here that's claiming to be Jesse James.
Four-flusher. Ooh. Quick draw.
No, we didn't come here for any trouble. We came here to do a little job with you boys. I'm sorry, Lonnie, but you just backed yourself into a corner.
Take it easy, Jesse. He'll be all right when he sobers up. Now, to tell you the truth, Jesse, I figured you'd have more men. I didn't know that you were down to Hank and yourself. But I still think we got enough to pull this. And I think
Hank.
you'll agree that it's worth it when I tell you what it is.
Where's his brother, Frank?
Still north. Do you know it?
Yeah,
Right.
narrow cut about 30 miles out of business.
What'd you say, you
We're
son
going
of
to
a
take
bitch?
delivery of $100,000 there.
$100,000.
I thought you'd like the idea.
It's an awful lot of money. You sure?
Lonnie's sparking a girl that works at the bank. And when the bank gets fat to the tune of $100,000, they transfer it to Fort Buchanan. And later on, it's sent back east by the Army supply train. Right, Lonnie?
That's right. My word has always been good enough for the Wild Bunch, Mr. James.
Mr. James.
No, that's an awful lot of money in one place at one time.
Jesse
Drunk
may
or
look
not?
down many a gun barrel for a lot
That's
less
what the
than
game
that.
we should play with
Hey,
one of these
Jesse?
old movies.
Right.
Actor, drunk or
Anybody
not.
shipping that much money through a narrow pass would figure that's a natural place for a holdup.
That's the way the bank figures it, too. And that's why they send their stagecoach on through the pass with passengers and no money as a decoy.
Decoy?
That's right. When the first stagecoach gets through,
Yeah, that's what I said.
they signal a second stagecoach that's all is clear. That's the one we'll be waiting for, with the money and no passengers. Simple and sweet, ain't it? What's the matter? Don't you like it?
That's too simple. What's the hitch?
No hitch. The second coach has only a driver and a
If
shotgun.
you just moved a little to
Well,
the
him
right,
the
those
faster one,
antlers
what
would be framed right behind. There's a lot of movies
like
that
it
do
better
that
if we
on
had more men,
purpose.
but
It always
I think we
cracks
got
me
enough
up.
to do it. Are you game?
It's like,
Want to try it?
you know that's that you're
You know
doing
me,
that.
Jesse. Whatever you say.
What's the split?
Well, there's 5 of us. We'll split it. We'll split it 5 ways.
Well, I didn't ride 300 miles for my health.
The deal.
Salute.
Marshal, I tell you, I know that's Jesse James. I made sure of that. So you get
Rat.
Jesse, and I get the $10,000
School
reward,
pigeon.
dead or alive.
How do I know you're not sending us right into a trap?
Well, I'm riding right there with him, ain't I? If I was lying to you, it'd be easy enough for you to pick me off. Besides, I'm going straight.
Well, I can't
Is that guy
afford
the
not to
sheriff?
go along with you, but let me tell you one thing.
Oh, okay,
he's
okay,
ratting
yeah.
That
on him.
rewards, you better make sure you stay out of the line of fire.
These old movies, man, there's no establishing
Marshal,
shot. I
tell
thought
you,
it was
I'm
still the
going
same
straight.
scene.
All you got to do
No,
is tell
we
your
just
men, and I'm
boom.
on your side.
Do you think we have the money for establishing shots? Do you know how much we spent on that map of the castle and the small Mexican village?
We blew the whole
We
budget.
blew it all on that.
Well, we got a deal.
Give him the cold shoulder.
I didn't even notice that. Oh, that's great.
Now, you men know what to do. But I don't want anybody getting trigger happy because one of them happens to be Jesse James. Now, let's spread out and get up high. You 2 men take this side. Andy, we'll take this side and the horses. Let's go.
So this guy here who's playing the sheriff, he's the actor named Jim Davis.
Oh, okay. And then later, after this movie, he would go on to...
He would go on to Garfield.
He became a cartoonist.
He became Garfield, and they thought that he made this house that was all decked out with Garfield, but it turned out it was actually a guy who tried to kill Jim Davis.
Oh my god, dude, Fresh is on a roll tonight.
Oh, yes.
Man has got jokes.
All right, Jesse, this is it.
Oh, man.
Now remember,
Oh, you
after
can
the
always
first
count
coach
Fresh.
gets through, they fire 2 shots. That's a signal for the second coach to come on. You got it? You and Hank take that side. We'll take this side.
What's the matter, Lonnie? You seem nervous. Something bothering you?
Just what are you driving at?
All right, you 2, knock it off. Knock it off. We're all a little edgy. Come on. Lonnie!
We gotta stay cool. We got a job to do. Come on.
That guy's, like, bright purple shirt is, it just really keeps drawing my eye.
We're here.
Get ready, boys. First coach is coming.
That's the first one.
Attention.
That's the signal. There she comes now, Jesse.
Get ready. Here she comes.
Yeehaw! I'm pretty sure the first stagecoach would have heard all that.
How about it, Jesse? You haven't got a chance.
Let's get out of here.
GTFO, bro. You like dropped the gun before the bullet. Yeah,
Well, the man's just got so much muscle mass that he just didn't feel it.
And that takes us to the first break.
Oh, rip
All
Hank.
right.
R.I.P.
Yeah, Hank definitely does not. He looks pretty worse for the wear right now. So, that seems like a pretty good climactic point to go to break. What's gonna happen to him?
What's gonna happen to his brain?
Yeah, I was gonna say. I wonder if he's gonna need medical assistance. I wonder who out in this wild western vastness.
How many
would
doctors
be able,
are around?
How many? What doctor? There's a doctor here in the directory. Dr. Frankenstein. Oh, she's probably pretty good. She's a woman, but it's the Old West. Like
we're a progressive
we can
Old
be
Western
progressive
town
still in this time. Let's go for it. Let's give her a shot. So we'll see how that turns out. Okay, yeah. So we're in. That's probably about the first act. So what do we think so far? I mean, we got a lab creation type scene. We got some gunfighting. So I mean, for a B movie, we're already checking some boxes.
Yeah,
right?
I mean it's really not bad. It seems like a made-for-TV Western. It's got that
Right.
kind of feel to it. And I gotta be honest, I actually do kind of like Westerns, so this is kind of right up my alley.
Oh, that's cool. All right, hell yeah. No, I mean really, like there is something for me too when I sit down and watch a Western. I can just kind of get drawn in, and I won't plan to be sitting down to watch this whole thing, but. It'll
Something
be on
about
TV
just the cowboy story. It's just fun.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as you start getting, like, who's aligned with who and who's actually a bad guy and who's actually virtuous, you're like, okay, I want to see how this shakes out. And it always, it's a morality play. It always is. The good guys always win, the bad guys always lose. You know how it's going to shake out, but there's something comforting about that. And this, again,
and then when you throw in supernatural stuff, I mean, I really do think underexplored genre is cowboys and undead.
Well, and so there's like a general genre called Weird West, which is that it just encompasses any kind of horror or sci-fi that you can bring in with Western. And that's kind of a subgenre in and of itself, which we can talk about a little more later on in the program, I think, as we explore this movie and keep seeing examples of both genres. Because I will say, honestly, in this movie, you're getting some pretty good displays of both. Yes, this is Westworld, but instead of robot scientists, you got Dr. Frankenstein, who's like, I need to transplant the brain into this body, and it will be perfect. And it never's perfect. It never turns out well. So
just living in the shadow of your grandfather. What can you do?
I mean, your grandfather's the Dr. Frankenstein. Sure, his monster killed a lot of people, but hey, he brought a thing that was dead back to life. Some pretty big shoes to fill. So. She's clearly trying. It's not for lack of effort. It's more for lack of again, much like the bad guys gang has a rat, the horror antagonist, there's a rat. There's a bad guy who's sabotaging everything. So,
and I think there's a potential love triangle there.
Ooh, yeah. Evan. Yeah, no, I think you're onto something there. So. We are. Anything else before we get on with it, Evan? I mean, it's, again, been pretty good so far, and I tell you, it only gets more batshit from here. You're gonna have, it only gets more fun. It doesn't, some of the movies that we'll watch start out really good, and it's like, bleh, okay, it's boring. This is not one of those movies, so, again, we're gonna take a break, re-up on your drinks, do whatever you gotta do, chill, smoke them if you got them, and then and then come back and we'll get into the meaty part, the meaty middle of Jesse James meets Frankenstein's daughter.
When travel by stage was dangerous because of vengeful renegade Indians, a massive, mysterious bat terrorized the pioneers of the West.
When the vampire takes a mate, he turns the one he chooses into one of the living dead like himself.
There's something spooky about all this. Something I don't understand, but I'm gonna find out.
Don't be afraid, my child. I chose you for my mate. Tomorrow you'll become one of the undead, as I am. Your bullets can't hurt me.
Save your strength, Jesse James. You will need it.
Your bullets can't hurt me.
And we are back. Okay, so Evan was just mixing us up another Outlaw, which is really great.
Just knocking some stuff over real quick.
Knocking some stuff over, making a huge mess. You know, I already poured a beer out, so we're already treating this floor like it's an Old West saloon. Evan's been spitting peanut shells all over the place to really give it that proper atmosphere, since we're watching Jesse James meets Frankenstein's daughter. So if you were just able to tune into those trailers, you'll see that there is a similar movie to this called Billy the Kid versus Dracula. And I'm sure some of you are curious, like, what's the connection? So it turns out that these movies were actually filmed concurrently. They were both directed by William Bodine. They were filmed, I think, at the same movie ranch, which I'm pretty sure that ranch exists today, and they may have filmed some parts of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood there. But they filmed these movies back to back, super cheap. Again, I think it was 8 days. Remember last week's movie they shot in 6 days? I'm pretty sure they shot both of these movies like in 8 days. They were different depending on my sources. Some things said concurrently, some things said back to back. so I wasn't sure if that meant that they filmed at the same time or they filmed one after the other. But the intention was always to make these movies together and release them on a double bill, a double feature, which was a big thing back then, especially in the drive-in market. The drive-in market had gotten huge, so double features were a thing, and so the producers for this said, what if, thank you, Evan, they said, what if we mix the Western and the horror stuff together for 2 movies? We had a great double feature out of it. And that's how we got both of these great movies. And the weird thing is, this movie that we're watching tonight, of course, is public domain. But for some strange reason, Billy the Kid versus Dracula, of course, Billy the Kid versus Dracula is not public domain, which is kind of a wild thing. Yeah, it's,
I mean, it's a shame that we're not going to be able to watch that one. I definitely wanted to see somebody try to shoot Dracula.
Right, and that film, last week's film, Voodoo Man, which you remember, had an actor named John Carradine in it. He plays Dracula in Billy the Kid versus Dracula.
Oh, yeah, he was one of the goons,
He was one of the goons in Voodoo Man. He plays Dracula in that movie. He played Dracula, like I said last week, in the 1940s. Around the same time they made that movie with Bela Lugosi, John Carradine was also playing Dracula. So he got to play it one more time, and he frequently called it one of his worst films. So you can imagine it wasn't really, both of these movies are not A films. These are B movies made for a cheap double feature. They probably played in the drive-in for less than a week. But they made like a pretty good profit, ultimately. And the production company behind this, or the production company behind the production company, was like 3 years after this putting out Best Picture Oscar-winning movies. And
you got to pay your dues. You got to work up to the big ones.
Right, exactly. And, you got to get your Jesse James meet Frankenstein's daughter and Billy the Kids versus Dracula's out of the way.
You got to cut your teeth.
Can do your graduates and the producers and all of these.
They did those?
Huh?
Are those the movies that they made?
So I think it was Embassy. The producer's name was Joseph E. Levine or Levine. And I think his company was Embassy. But the company went through like throughout the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, different periods of popularity when it was producing different things. Late 60s, early 70s, it was these Oscar-winning films. And then I think in the 70s or the 80s, they started doing more TV stuff that was famous. So, this producer went to another producer and said, "Hey, I want you to make these low-budget horror movies for me." And so you got these wild, Weird West things. And again, like we were talking about that genre of Weird West earlier, one of the really only things before this, there was some B cowboy westerns that had haunted themes, but the ghosts always turned out to be somebody in a mask, right? It was always some, but there was a lot of singing cowboy westerns that had haunted gold mine shit,
Of course, yeah.
But there was a movie that Universal put out in the late 50s called Curse of the Undead, which is about a vampire in an old western town. And that, I think, has a lot of cult appeal, but it isn't considered part of the Universal monster canon, which is kind of a strange thing. But I digress on Weird West. I digress on the making of these double features. But pretty wild stuff. Yeah, Evan, anything before we...
So, we know what B movies are. Is there such a thing as C movies?
So, Once you start going down past B, you might as well just use the letter Z, and that's usually what's done. And we will get some of those movies on here that are considered. I mean, this could be considered below B.
Okay.
At this time, this is at the very least very low B, if not C, D.
Once it's below B, it's just not worth categorizing.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, you know, again, I'm not going to use the word bad, but...
We don't use that word here.
I don't use that word here, but...
It's just usually... the easy out, you know, we're thinking men, we're intellectuals, we can find good in otherwise... not bad, but... in movies.
Yeah, no, the word bad is... I'm always looking for a way out. I'm always looking for a scapegoat door. You know, I'm just trying to just get me out of here. So, you know, I'm not going to
pull that ripcord.
I'm going to pull that ripcord, so I'm not going to use the word bad. You're not going to find me using that word. So, if there's not anything else, Evan, then I think we are going to get into the middle of Jesse James Meets Frankenstein's Daughter. Wild Bunch not looking so wild now.
Anyone of them? Lonnie? He tells me he's going straight.
Sure I am. You saw me. Didn't I try to help you get Jesse James?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you did.
Didn't I do good, Paul?
Well, thank you, men. Now you better get back to your jobs and your homes. What about you? My job's going after those two. And I can't say I like it very much either.
I'm going with you, Marshal.
You want that reward pretty bad, don't you, Lonnie?
Yeah, I want that 10,000.
I want that.
But I want to see Jesse James' eyes looking right at me when I shoot him.
I never figured you'd try to
a lot
shoot
of money
Jesse
back
James from the front, Lonnie. All right, let's get these two men in the stagecoach. Get them back in town. You guys give me a hand.
You know, your pride is hurt. You're like, I'm gonna kill that son of a bitch.
Oh, he's still alive.
He did get shot. I guess it could be like close to the heart, but the acting just like, oh, my shoulder.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the. Anytime you get, you know, non-fatally shot in a movie, it's always in the shoulder. Oh.
I don't know if I'm gonna make it, dude. Shit.
Here, drink some of this pond water, bro.
This'll clean it.
Get some of this nice, clean pond water in this wound.
Well, rest here a while. We'll move on.
Gonna get some of this bacteria amoeba in here, and it's gonna start eating your brain, and then you'll be good.
Then his brain will be useless. It'll be just like all these child brains.
Jesse James. Well, you know, there's one of the Universal Frankenstein movies where the monster wants a child brain. He kidnaps a child so they'll give him her brain.
What movie is that?
The Ghost of Frankenstein. The other shirt I was gonna wear tonight.
Oh right, there's still characters in this movie.
These people we saw in the first 5 minutes haven't seen since.
Nothing.
I don't mean you know, huh?
Oh, bueno. Buenas noches, señor.
Buenas noches. ¿Habla inglés?
Poquito.
He speaks a little bit.
Well, my friend's sick. I wonder if you'd mind if we'd rest with you a spell.
Sí, señor, cómo no. Gracias. ¿Quién será?
No sé.
¿Quién puede
Tengo
traer esta
miedo.
noche?
Por
No,
favor,
hija, no. Espérate a ver quién viene.
Ruégale a Dios que no sea nadie más.
Me and my
Look at all
dying
this
friend here
blood.
just.
I'm dying here.
Well, he was cleaning his gun.
Here, let me help you. Dip this into the hot water. Right over there. The bullet must come out.
Hey, sweet pea.
Hey.
There's a doctor in Prescott.
Yeah, she's
Well, we can't
helping
go
them
into
now. It'll unfortunately
go into
be
any
more
town.
trouble
I
than it's
understand.
worth.
I knew what you were when you first came into camp. Your friend is dying.
Dying?
The wound is very bad. Very bad.
That's why they say
I
when
will
things are
take him to
going
the
well,
doctor.
you're in hot water.
Where?
Do not worry. You will be safe.
Right? I mean,
Thanks very
this
much.
is Jesse James meets Frankenstein's daughter. And so the man in black is
The man is
the
dying.
eponymous Jesse
I'm
James.
taking him back to the
and
doctor.
his
suddenly.
friend has been wounded.
No, my child. You must not
And
go back to them.
unfortunately,
But I have
this
to.
chick is trying to
can
help
let him
them
die.
by taking them
If
to
you go there, something terrible will happen to you.
Dr.
I'm not
Frankenstein.
afraid.
I say
Yeah,
you
who
are not
hasn't
to go
got
back.
a lot of
I
screen
forbid
time
it.
yet.
But
Not
Papa,
yet,
I
but
forbid it.
just wait. She's gonna chew it up. She's gonna chew that scenery up.
It's just gonna be her for the rest of the movie.
She gets after it.
we must wait a while.
Yes, yeah, Fresh, you missed our whole meditation on the Frankenstein versus Frankenstein's monster discussion. I won't rehash it.
Not until next week.
Hey, well, whenever we get another reanimation movie, God knows, that's not coming for another couple seasons. Not a lot of reanimation movies outside of Frankenstein stuff, and not a lot of Frankenstein stuff outside of the Universals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think her parents said, we're trying to be sensible and be like, bitch, don't you take them to the doctor that killed your brother, please. And she's like, I mean, he either dies now or he dies because Dr. Frankenstein's gonna turn him into a lab rat. Either way, you know, he lives a couple more hours. I did something good, right?
Her heart's in the right place.
Right.
Senor,
Senor, do you speak English?
a little?
We've been following two men. One's a big man. He's been wounded.
Big
He's a
man!
real
You
big
understand?
man.
Comprehenda?
Comprehenda.
Sí, senor.
Well, did you see them?
No, senor.
She gonna put on them gloves and...
Marshal. So you didn't see anybody, huh? Marshal? Take a look at these. Could have been them. I got a hunch they were here. Well, folks say Jesse James steals from the rich and gives to the poor. Adios, senor.
Was that his reputation?
Was it? I don't know anything about Jesse James.
I ought to kill you.
Let him alone.
Good question.
That don't. No, yeah, his
Marshall.
Marshall. His name is Marshall. Hi, I'm Marshall Marshall. I'm the marshal of the town of Marshall.
We must go after her.
No. When Francisco died, I swore I would go away and never come back. And I will not.
We're fine to
not
be a
even for
state of the
Juanita.
union, but I don't
Then
think
I
it's
will
going
go
to happen.
back without you.
You will be lost in 5 minutes. You will do as I say.
They know a lot of English. What are they talking about?
Yeah, I mean, you know, when the law comes around, you know, fuck the police. We'll just stonewall them.
Yeah,
I don't.
Fair
no
enough.
comprende.
No comprehende.
I'll cook you some broth. If Jesse's
No
can bring us something to eat,
comprehendo.
I'll bring you some water.
In the very rare times that they're actually getting culturally appropriate actors in the roles and not just getting some white person making them no speaking of English. Yeah. I mean, the further we go back, we're going to get some pretty racist examples of white people trying to embody other cultures. We saw it last week with Voodoo Man. I mean,
Which character?
Well, just the whole voodoo comes out of
yeah.
Haiti and a whole, you know, religious aspect to it.
Yeah, there wasn't any.
George Zucker making himself up and
that movie.
doing the rope trick is not culturally relevant.
Where's Juanita?
Yeah, right. He was. He was
I
a
told her to
cultural
stay here.
appropriator. We get him here. Although that was last week. I'm rehashing something. It's not relevant.
Well, it's good for the people who've been watching the whole time. Do you think this is just the same body of water? I noticed, again, to go back to last week's movie, they got like a lot of like use out of like 3 locations.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, no. Like I said, this was shot on a Western ranch, like a studio ranch that I'm pretty sure they shot once upon a time in Hollywood. Whoa!
Whoa!
Just, you gotta be ready for this in these kind of westerns that some random Native Americans is gonna pop out. They maybe mentioned Native Americans a couple times in this, but I was not prepared. Hardcore. We're gonna bring this guy in for a stunt, for some stunts, and they're just gonna
kill him.
Take him out. I'm the real Jesse James. Fuck you, bitch.
Jesse.
I have expired. Oh shit! Oh damn! The cavalry's coming.
For a minute, I really thought that they were just gonna move on from that and not acknowledge it. Like just
Right, just this one
random
guy.
native shows up,
For
gets
fun.
killed, nothing leading up
You
to it,
saved
nothing
my
coming
life,
away from it.
Jesse.
Saucy. I'm not doing so good. Yeah, that was a fast relationship, right? He endeared himself, like.
Up there.
Picasso.
That is the place I told you about. There's where the doctors are.
No, that doesn't look as
This
when you
is our home.
separate from the village.
I wait here.
Well, I mean, it's Jesse James, right? Just the name alone's gotta get you, like, steamed up a little bit,
Plus,
right?
you know, you save somebody's life. I mean, that.
Don't be bright, Juanita.
I'm not. Now that you're here, I'll be waiting for you.
Damn. So, you don't want to fall for Jesse James. You know he's nothing but trouble.
He's just gonna leave. He's a rambler.
Right. Jesse, and you know Jesse James is the first person to get in and get out. He's gonna get what he wants and move on.
Hank's still dying.
My shoulder, I can't walk. I can't move my legs.
Poor guy's been dying for like a third of the movie.
Yeah, he's been on his feet for a while. Just...
Who is it? We want to see the doctor. We want to see the doctor. My friend is badly hurt.
Who sent you to us?
A girl by the name of Juanita.
Juanita? Is she back here?
Yes, come on, you're wasting time.
Just a minute.
I may have been shot in the shoulder and or heart, but I can still stand on my own 2 feet because I am a giant.
Maria.
A giant, you say?
Maria. 2 men, they are looking for a doctor. Perhaps it's the police.
Police here? Hundreds of miles from nowhere? You're a fool.
The girl Juanita is back. She brought them here.
And you're afraid of an ignorant girl? I shall take care of it.
Let Mama Frankenstein get down business.
Come in. What happened?
You're the doctor?
Yes. My brother and I are both
A lady doctor?
Yeah, don't sound so surprised.
I don't know.
Well, he shot himself cleaning his gun.
Doubt it.
We will be glad to have
Let me just clean my gun.
Maria, I believe that...
Rudolph, the laboratory.
His name's Rudolph?
Rudolph von Frankenstein.
Great.
Take
Can't
him in
remember.
there.
She's got a crazy name.
Put him on the table.
The man's story is obviously a false one.
So much better.
Dee,
We're on a
Dexter von Frankenstein.
Yeah, honestly, this is like a Dee Dee Dexter relationship, but Dee Dee decided also to become a mad scientist, and now Dexter has no choice but to become her Igor.
Wasn't
That's
that an
what this is.
episode? Didn't Dee Dee become smart in one of those episodes?
Oh, surely.
All right, I'd like to take care of the horses anyway.
100%.
If you put them in the lower
Dexter
stable, they will be well hidden there.
I'll be right back.
You just leave all your guns and your ammo at the door, and we'll take care of it. We'll take it to the coat check girl. She'll make sure that it gets put away safely. She'll clean your guns for you.
Jesse. Jesse.
Jesse.
Whom are you calling?
Jesse. James. Don't let him leave me.
Ooh.
Uh-oh. See
If
that?
only Jesse James knew she was Frankenstein's daughter, then he could blackmail her just as
The
easily.
whole countryside must be
It's
looking
like,
for this.
bitch.
Perfect, Rudolph. Perfect. I have plans for them both.
Simone is bad. Faster.
It is nothing. He's strong as a giant. What a brute he'll make.
God damn it, I said Jesse. Those trees, man.
Yeah. So when you're doing
Howdy, ma'am.
like that, they wrote
I'm
up on a
Marshal
pretty
McPhee.
wide shot. Do you just have like
We've been training two
huge
men
matte
at this
painting in the
outfit.
back, or
2 men?
So
Yes, one of them was wounded.
Oh, no. They're
that's
not
actually
here.
a really good question because
Well, if you don't mind, I'll...
you know, after
come in and
matte
look around.
paintings, that's when they started developing like blue screen. They had blue screen before they had green screen. And I don't know, I almost feel like they just didn't have anything there, like maybe just a black, because the
I
way
told
that they
you
would
that
do
we're
process
here.
shots, there's
I'm
if you
sorry
had
about
something
it, man.
black, you could put something under it, and it would show up. So I think that they would paint it get it on the film and then put it under what they shot of like the village and then
Your friend is very sick, Mr.
It's, I mean, it's a wild.
Howard.
Ah, yes.
Wild special
Mr.
effect that
Howard.
got used for a long time.
He has a very high temperature,
varying
but
effects.
my brother is an excellent doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Won't you come to the library? I want to talk to you.
No, you're wrong. Doubt it. That's not what I heard.
Please sit down, Mr. Howard.
They got a time traveler to show him how to use Adobe.
Did Juanita tell you some terrible
Oh yeah,
tales
they
about
went
her?
in there. They were like,
Why'd you say that?
"There's a real castle here, but we'd
What
rather
did she tell you?
have
Nothing.
vivid."
We ran
animated
into the
qualities.
Lopez family, and Juanita
Want
offered
to
to bring
look
us
like
to a doctor.
painting. That's
Well,
what
they
Nothing
just
else?
shot it at the real
Should she have told us something else?
old Western castle.
No, I suppose
Right,
not.
it's the that classic old Western castle
Perhaps
that
you're
everybody knows.
wondering why we live in this old abandoned mission.
Oh,
The
it's a
answer is quite
mission.
simple.
Ooh.
My
Okay,
brother
that's
and
cool.
I came here from Europe.
And she's on a
We are
mission.
scientists, perhaps ahead of our time. Our experiments were not always understood
Exposition,
or appreciated in our own
exposition.
country, so we had to leave.
Getting
Finally,
some
we
story
came here.
going.
When I realized that out here my brother and I could stop from running, I took possession of this old mission and
It is
fixed
an
it up
interesting
for our
blend of
work.
locations.
We took
Well,
this
I must say
mission and we
it's
said,
different.
wouldn't it look great?
I mean, making a
if it
home
looked
out of
like
a monastery.
fucking castle.
Sort of
So we
lonesome, I should
put
think.
fake stone
It
walls.
had
This is
its
a real stone.
compensation.
See, it's paper mache.
This is
Won't you
stucco.
join me? Help yourself.
Well, thanks. It's been a long time since we stopped to eat.
He's ready to go.
Just quick on the draw, that Jesse.
That's what happens when you take Frankenstein's daughter, you take Jesse James, you're like, how do I put them together? I'll just put Europe in the West. And it'll work. Everybody will buy it. You'll buy it.
I'm Marshal McPhee. We're trailing two outlaws.
Outlaws?
Oh, don't be frightened. They're not the type to hurt women. Besides, one of them's badly hurt.
And who are these outlaws?
One's Jesse James, the other's Hank Tracy.
Well, my brother and I have neither seen nor heard anyone today. But if we do,
I don't
we
speak
shall send
English
word.
very well.
Where will you be?
Well, I have a feeling they're holding up in this area someplace, so I think we'll spend a few days in Shelby.
Very well.
Thank you.
So remember that Dracula versus Frankenstein trailer we saw
Yeah.
earlier? That sheriff is in that movie.
Okay.
And he did some John Wayne movies around a little after this.
He definitely looks like a John Wayne type.
Yeah. He
Just
always
the
played
marshal
some
looking for
bit,
some outlaws.
you know, a sheriff or
Oh,
a henchman. Or
did he say who they were?
No, Mr. Howard.
Yeah,
While
man, you
my brother is
gotta.
taking care of your friend,
We play.
I
I
hope you will
play
decide to stay here with us.
degrees of Kevin Bacon all
Well,
the time
thanks.
with the show, and
Well, I'd like
if I can
that.
find a way to work John Wayne in. when
Now,
we're
if you'll
doing a
excuse me,
Western,
I will see if I
have
can
to.
help my brother.
I'm sure that the director William Bonnine probably did some like low budget John Wayne westerns before John Wayne hit it big.
How is he?
Lost a lot of blood.
He looks all right to me. I intend to use him in my next experiment.
Maria, please stop this terrible experiment. We'll have another death on our conscience.
Don't be an imbecile. If I turned him over to the marshal, he'd be hanged anyway. So what has he got to lose?
Gonna be dead either way.
Now
Might
go
as
get
well.
that
Think
girl
about it.
Anita to help
That's
Turn
just
him into a
science, man.
monster.
Remember, he must stay alive.
I think it's a mistake to bring her into this house.
Let it be my mistake then. But get her here where I can keep an eye on her.
Jesus Christ, she's just with her eyes, man, just laying into him. She wanted a giant, boom, she got it. Oh, Juanita.
Well, good morning.
Morning.
She's on
How
a
do you
mission.
feel this morning?
She is.
Pretty
I
good.
mean,
You've
first
been awful
Jesse
good to me,
James.
Juanita.
I mean,
Hardly anybody.
I was just joking about the love triangle thing.
Except maybe Jesse.
oh, it's gonna be
I
like
can't
a.
thank you enough.
What's more than a
I don't
triangle?
know, because
What do you
I'm
call
saying.
that?
Juanita,
The love.
when I get well and
Polyhedron.
Parallel,
Jesse and I
yeah,
leave.
yeah, sure.
will you go with us?
Just
No.
wait.
I must stay here.
Parallelogram,
Someday,
yeah.
when the Frankensteins leave, my
So
people will
1,
come
2,
back.
3,
It's a
4.
love rhombus.
Yeah,
You
I
must
think
be
so.
wrong about them, Juanita. Look how good they're treating me.
Perhaps. But out there in the graveyard, I see my brother's grave. No.
I brought you here, but they killed my brother.
Oh, no.
So you should
You
know,
mustn't.
and you should be on
I will
alert,
let
but
As soon as you get well, you must go.
I brought you here.
But Juanita.
No. No.
Juanita.
Why don't you go tell Jesse James he's not fucking mortally wounded? Ooh, okay, maybe she will tell Jesse. Rhombus. That's what it is. It's a love rhombus.
Yeah.
Of course.
You know what?
Why didn't I think of that before?
Today, Hank asked me to come with you when you go.
Yeah, this is some smooth music.
Don't you want me to go with you?
It isn't that, Juanita. It's just...
Well, I'm waiting.
When I first met you, I told you, I'm Jesse James. I'm an outlaw.
You
Can't
are
you
the outlaw.
understand?
It's me.
That I
I'm
know.
the Jesse James.
I don't want you to be in love with me.
You want
This
me
is,
to go
I'm
with
bad news. Come on, Jesse. You're just leading her on,
Yes,
man.
answer.
That is all I wanted to know. No. I can't not leave this place. I must
And then
not.
there's a narrator. And Jesse was in
But I
a,
had to
in a
know.
terrible predicament. What was
But
he
you
gonna do
wanted
next?
me.
If that isn't just like a wolf.
You women are all alike.
Do not be angry with me. You see, I must stay just as you must go.
Why must I go?
Because I do not trust the Frankensteins.
Yeah, get him out of
They
here.
wicked. They terrible people. They will destroy you. They destroy our village and some of our boys. And they will destroy you and Hank. Promise. On my brother's grave.
They're really downplaying the, like, child murder
Go.
aspect of this whole thing.
Right. It's Frankenstein killed some kids. I'm not.
You know, it just...
I knew he could help your friend, but you should
Someday.
probably go.
When things are different for you and
Like,
me.
I really
Come
want to
back.
bang you, but you're in
I'll wait.
danger. But let's still try to bang at some point. Well, you and Hank should probably go. Ooh.
It's another love
I
triangle.
told you, it's
It's kind of hot inside. I thought I'd come out for a smoke.
Yes, it's nice out here.
It's kind of nice country. Why is everybody
You
except
already
one
hear him
gone
straight
away?
in like,
We have time.
"Oh, I don't know."
We make experiments. These people are ignorant. They do not understand, and they're frightened. So they've run away.
Seems like some of them didn't quite make it.
Yes, Francisco, a sweet child. He became ill, but my brother and I could not save him. He was weak. Not like your friend Hank. Hank is improving.
Thanks to you and your brother. And Juanita.
He's doing even better than I'd hoped for.
How soon do you think we'll be able to leave?
I want to speak to you about that.
And there he goes, right back into it, when he should have walked away.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I made a promise to
corporate
relieve us when
America
Hank was well enough
needs
to
more
travel.
industrial
A
films
promise?
with monsters
who?
in them.
Right?
To my self, you might say.
It would help people learn their fucking lessons, man.
It's lonesome out here.
Jesse's having the
Very
same
difficult for
problem
us.
millions of other guys have.
We do not know how to cope with this wild country. Stay here. We need you. I need you. I'm on the verge of a great experiment. And I know I will succeed this time. I will build an empire here. I want you to share in everything.
Could you imagine if he actually agreed to this? Jesse James and Frankenstein's daughter having an empire of the Old West?
Rudolph is weak.
Wow. That would
I
be
need
great.
you.
Imagine how different the world would be now.
I
Yeah,
need
that's
your
Is it Weird Western or Wild Western? What did you
Weird
call it?
West.
Weird West. Okay.
And that coin was turned through like comic books.
We
like
leave
in the
as soon as
70s,
Hank is well
80s,
enough to
like
travel.
Marvel comics, but they're early examples.
I'm sorry I made a fool of myself. Good night, Mr. Howard.
Mr. Howard! And the music just abruptly stops.
Yeah, just cut it hard.
Cut
it hard.
So we are at the second break, and when we come back, we will get to the exciting conclusion of Jesse James Meets Frankenstein's Daughter. This is actually one of the longer movies that we will watch on the show. It's 83 minutes. I mean, we get some movies that are under 60, right at 60. Last week's movie was 62, 63. This is 83, so getting a little bit, a little bit longer chunks, but impressions so far, Evan. What do you think?
There's so much drama. Like, there's way more drama than I was expecting.
Well, and that I feel like almost exclusively comes from the Western angle, because in horror, the drama is like you've always, like we saw in last week's episode, there were these romantic leads, and it was kind of boring.
Yeah, they didn't really focus on that too much.
You get a lot of boring romantic leads. Here, they're like, okay, we know what you want. We're going to give you what you want, but we're going to bake the horror into, like, Western has drama baked in the plot already. So if you can just take that and put the horror on top of it, you get Jesse James Meets Frankenstein's Daughter. But no, I mean, there's been some good stuff. And, again, we got a creation scene up top, but don't think that you're not getting another one. It's, once we get back from the break, we're coming in hot for the finale.
Yeah, this movie still needs a monster.
Right, we have not seen the monster yet, and if you can't figure out who's going to be the monster,
Gee,
then,
who could it be?
I wonder who it could be. I won't tell you. You should know. If you don't know, well then...
Stop paying attention.
Yeah. It's wow, Fresh, you are eerily prescient, because if you stick around for the break, you're like, what?
This is secretly just a Godzilla movie.
All the trailers that we've been showing tonight are monster movie mashup crossover theme. Ooh. So we all know that there was a King Kong Godzilla crossover a couple of years ago. I don't know if you guys knew there was one in the 60s. So we will you'll get to see a little bit about how that played out.
Cage match, title fight.
Right. So what happens when we pit the gargantuan giant ape against the god of destruction?
Godzilla gets hit with a steel folding chair.
It's definitely an all-out cage match. But it's well, wouldn't it be Welcome to the Jungle? I mean, if it wasn't Welcome to the Jungle, I don't know what he would. I mean, that seems like a no-brainer to me. If you got other suggestions, I would love to hear what you guys... But Welcome to the Jungle is the first thing that came to my mind. I don't know if there's any songs about apes or...
I mean, King Kong just comes to mind, but...
Right, any Gorillaz song will do.
Yeah.
Sure. If the artist doesn't... Either way it works.
If you see me before you hear me, I got King Kong in the trunk.
I got him in the trunk. Oh my god, okay.
Hear me before you see me. Damn it.
Oh my god. Alright, well, mashups, crossovers, that's what tonight's all about. So you guys will get to see a couple more trailers for that in the break, and then we'll come back. Anything, Evan, before we go to this break? Anything about what we just saw, impressions, before we get to the exciting climax?
I want to say something, but I'm afraid, I mean, it's not really a spoiler.
Oh, come on.
So we're beating around the bush, but Hank is obviously going to be...
Obviously. I was going to say Hank, but
right.
It's Hank. Yeah, so obviously it's Hank.
I do just think it's funny that it seems like Hank has about as much characterization as the original Frankenstein. I half expect him to just... all of his lines in this movie to just be...
Jesse. Jesse.
It's just not...
I'm not really a bad monster.
He just exists to be like a big buff guy who gets shot.
Oh, this is exactly what the antagonist was looking for the whole time. I wonder what his purpose is. It's Hank. So join us for the exciting conclusion when you find out that the monster is going to be Hank.
Sorry to spoil it.
Sorry to spoil it. So we'll go to a quick break, and we will be right back.
Sacrifice to his brute embrace.
Godzilla has a brain about this size. He is sheer brute force. While Kong is a thinking animal. His brain is considerably larger. About 10 times the size of this gorilla's skull. Being instinctive rivals, there's no doubt that they will attempt to destroy one another.
King Kong versus Godzilla, heading for their colossal collision, shattering every obstacle that stands between them in the most fantastic rampage of annihilation ever recorded on film. See King Kong stamp Tokyo into the ground, holding a beautiful girl in his grasp. See Godzilla destroy an entire army. See King Kong trapped by the blazing barrier of 1 billion volts. But nothing, nobody can stop the great showdown when King Kong and Godzilla meet to fight for survival of the fittest.
Count Dracula sleeps in this coffin, but rises every night at sunset. Chick is right. This is awful silly stuff.
Come on, take it all out.
Now! Look out, Chick! Come
dignified, but hilariously. Plus the dangerous and terrifying Wolf Man, played by Lon Chaney. Plus that fiend out of a nightmare, the vampire Batman, Count Dracula, played by Bela Lugosi. Plus the most dreaded creature of them all, the Frankenstein monster, played by Glenn Strange. Plus a couple of luscious but designing females in the spookiest laugh fest on record.
Mike, you got Mike. Woo! And we are back. All right. So we're about, ignorant or luscious. Well, you know. Unfortunately, most of our movies are pre-1970, pre-Women's Lib, and...
Exactly, you just gotta wait.
We'll get some good movies with some really good female protagonists who are strong and take matters into their own hands, but it's really few and far between, and I apologize for that, S-Sync94. One day, I promise, those movies will be in the public domain. We won't be alive to show them, but they'll be in the public domain. So
yeah, we got to keep civilization going for that reason.
Right, exactly. We have to keep the show going until
there we
then.
go. Yeah,
so
we're gonna do this show for 50 years, and then we'll finally be able to show
we will make AIs that live
protagonist.
after we died, and their sole purpose is to keep this show going on, so that every movie that enters the public domain afterwards we cover.
Can we take a sec and appreciate that the assertion of the Godzilla and King Kong trailer that King Kong is he definitely known for his intelligence. Well,
no. What did they say? They said
they said Godzilla. I mean, they said Godzilla's brain is like this big, but King Kong is a thinking monster.
Well, right. Well, think about it. What they say about the lizard brain versus the primate brain.
But like, I mean, okay. To be fair, I haven't really seen those movies, but well, I would think. I mean, like King Kong, he's not like he's a big ape and he smashes stuff, right? That doesn't scream intelligence to me.
No, well, it certainly doesn't. He's not the most calculating person. Gorilla, giant monster. What do you call him? Kaiju? Either way, whatever you want to call Godzilla, I do think, traditionally the way that his whole deal is set up, on Skull Island, they sacrifice virgins to him. I pretty much take a woman. Yeah, right. Yeah. Very high tower and right. Well, and again, Godzilla's very discerning. They have at Skull Island, they have a woman, sacrificial woman, ready for him to take. He knows to take that. He's not breaking into the village, destroying Skull Island, right? Like they've got that's what I'm saying. His brain is big enough to be understanding of I've got a relationship with these people on this island. They're going to give me a sacrifice, and in exchange I'll leave them alone. That takes thinking, right?
I mean, intelligence is relative.
That's all we can chalk it up to, right? At the end of the day, that's all we can say. So we're about to get back into Jesse James Meets Frankenstein's Daughter. Again, this is a Frankenstein movie, whatever you want to say. And again, we talked about it earlier, Frankenstein versus Frankenstein's monster. I'm going to slip up. I'm going to say Frankenstein when I'm referring to Frankenstein's monster.
I'm going to say Frankenstein's monster when I'm referring to the doctor.
Evans doesn't give a fuck what you guys think. Again, I've got some sensitivity to the issue, but I slip just like everybody else. Because...
Yeah, what is it they say? Intelligence is knowing that Frankenstein is the name of the doctor, but wisdom is knowing that Frankenstein is the real monster.
Right. And And that is exactly the point, Evan. I'm glad you brought that up. Because really, like, what people assume about Frankenstein versus what the point of the book was, which was essentially what you said. It's the horror of, like, man and what, like, the lengths that man goes to when they create something, they put something out in the world, and then they just let it go, and it becomes a monster that they can't control. And that's not what the movies have ever been about. The movies have never been about that. And
it seems like most of the book was just, this dude is mad ugly and people can't handle it.
Which is the truth. I mean, that was really, he's rejected by society because of his appearance, and that causes him to turn against society, to become a villain. It's very nuanced. And you can kind of get that, but in the Universal movies, mostly, they chalk it up to, he's got an abnormal brain. His brain doesn't work right.
Shabby normal.
The stupid assistant can't read, and so he grabs the jar that says abnormal brain, because I guess he can't read, instead of the one that says normal brain. And so the doctor unknowingly puts... So you can chalk it up to mistakes. It's not society is bad, as in the book. It's that dumb assistant. So... None of the movies, there's always been a focus on the brain in the movies. That's never been a thing in the book. But as we've seen here, she's all about the brain and control. There's all this thing about mind control, which actually came from the trailer we just saw, Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. Because Dracula is trying to put another brain into Frankenstein's monster to use that weak brain to be able to use mind control to control what the monster does. It's the most convoluted fucking thing.
Say what you said to me about that movie, because I really couldn't believe that.
About Abbott and Costello Meets Frankenstein?
The actor.
About Bela Lugosi, the fact that that was only the second time he played Dracula.
Oh, okay, yeah, the other trailer, yeah.
Oh, wait, wait, what? What were you talking about?
Well, that was Dracula. We were talking about Frankenstein.
Right. No, what was the thing I told you, though?
Just that was the only other time Lugosi played Frankenstein.
Right. That was what you... Yeah. I mean, it was... that was it.
Sorry, I'm losing the plot a little bit, but...
No, that's fine.
We're having fun.
No, we're having fun. We're having a good time. We're chilling here. Again, yeah, no, that was a little interesting tidbit that I told Evan that I also mentioned last week that the only time that Bela Lugosi played Dracula was only twice. You always think of him. You don't know. You maybe don't know it, but you always think of him. Same with Frankenstein. You always think of Boris Karloff, green, bolts. That's not the monster you're about to see here. The monster you're going to see here is what they did so they would not get sued by Universal for copyright infringement. So they had to skate around that shit. So, you know,
sort of legally distinct monster.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. He can't have a flat head. He can't be green. He can't have bolts. So what do? You make him bald. You give him some scars around. They had done this already multiple times before this movie. This movie, honestly, that was probably the cheapest thing for the budget. So that's what they did. They're not gonna make that whole guy look green. He's too big.
It's a low budget film. We can't afford that much. We can't
afford that makeup budget. We don't have that in the budget. Not Frankenstein's monster. And she calls him Igor, which is a whole other thing that comes from the Universal movies that's not in the books, that or in the book, that people just assume is part of it. But again, a lot of it comes from the Universal movies. You'd be surprised. And here, the lab equipment that you're seeing in these lab scenes was provided by the guy. It's the same lab equipment from the original 1931 movie. All the electrical stuff, he provided it for so many movies after the original Frankenstein, including Young Frankenstein, which again, it was this one guy, Kenneth Strickfaden. Everybody who wanted Frankenstein lab equipment went to him. Dracula versus Frankenstein.
Was he just like a prop guy, or was he?
He was the guy who made these machines.
Okay.
He was like a student of Tesla.
Oh.
Like Nikola Tesla. He studied under Tesla, made all these Tesla coils, made all these like wild electric gizmos for the original Frankenstein and other movies. And yes, Elon Musk. He was a student under Elon. Elon Musk was
and
actually a time
and that
traveler.
man's name, Elon Musk.
Could you imagine? No, I'm sure both Nikola Tesla and Kenneth Strickfaden would be horrified by the way Tesla's name is being used now. No, they wouldn't be horrified. They'd probably be pretty proud. I mean, the idea of Tesla is good. Elon Musk is just a wild guy. He's just wild. I'm not going to disparage him, but I'll use the word wild to describe him because he's.
I would disparage him, but we don't have time for that.
He's just eclectic, right? That's a good word for him too, I think. Well, we're gonna get back into to the exciting conclusion of Jesse James Meets Frankenstein's Daughter. Evan, anything before we get back into it?
Love Octagon. Let's do it.
All right. Well, here we go.
You're to find Jesse, Mr. Howard, and give him this envelope.
What is it?
You're to tell him it's a prescription for Hank, that he's taken a turn for the worse, and that we need this prescription to be filled.
Hank twice daily.
But Hank is doing well. And Juanita knows it, and she sees Jesse all the time, especially at night.
So you've been snooping around as usual. Well, then you know. To think that this outlaw, with a price on his head, refused me for that girl. Yes, I've seen them together, too.
So what I want
I'm
to
rich,
do, Maria,
damn it.
nothing
Look at me. I'm here in my castle.
What does she have that I don't have?
And he wants to fall for a peasant girl.
I'll tell you what.
Whatever.
It's a note to Jensen, the druggist in Shelby, telling him that the bearer is Jesse James, the outlaw, with a price on his head.
No, you mustn't. You mustn't.
Mustn't I? Why not?
She's confident.
I would have turned
At
him
the
in
very
before
least,
only.
you can say that. She's a
Only
confident
you
lady.
wanted him for yourself. Oh, you're jealous.
I mean, she wanted to
You're
remake
human
the
after
West
all.
with Jesse James as her lover.
Dang
Could you imagine?
I mean, that's...
That would be a wild sequel to
It
this
would be,
movie.
yeah.
And you know what? We could make it because this is in the public domain. So we could make a sequel to this movie where
Frankenstein's
he
granddaughter
goes
and
back
Jesse
to her and
James.
says, you know what? I actually fallen
He's
mad.
taking a turn
Let's do
What do
it.
you mean? When I saw him
The intro to the movie is like a sentence long, and you just go.
They sending
If
you
you
away
haven't
to get rid of
seen
you.
the
Why
first
would they
one,
try and
go
get
watch
rid of
it and then come
Besides,
back here. And
if you're
watch
wrong,
this.
it cost Hank his life.
Jesse! Don't trust him. Especially Maria.
Come on,
Please,
Yessie.
don't go.
I'll be back.
Jesse!
It's confidence only an outlaw can have. Yeah, like a lady with a real big castle, if you know what I'm saying.
What you're going to do is insane.
We shall soon see which one of us is insane.
Besides, we should postpone this
Shaved
transplantation
head.
until he recovers from his gun wound.
He's recovered enough.
Can you guys
Maria,
see the,
this
like...
is not the same as experimenting
And this was
on
the
one
best
of the village
quality copy I
children.
could find.
Jesse
This was
James
not
will kill
provided
us
by Golden Age
for what we are
Classics.
doing.
Can y'all see the
Jesse
VHS line at the
will be
very bottom of the
caught and
screen
hanged
like that?
in Shelby.
Oh,
Now
yeah.
get
Has that
on
been
with
the
the
whole time?
operation.
Yeah.
I've not noticed
I always
that.
loved I could have cropped it a little more, but it's kind of nice.
It's more authentic
But
this
you
way.
literally cannot find a copy of this that is not recorded from a VHS, which is wild.
Jesse.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's nice. If we're lucky, Golden Age Classics will get a print remastering. That would be awesome.
Chills the flesh.
While you're finished preparing, I shall activate the artificial brain.
Real chill. Real easy.
I always love movie lab equipment because it's always so colorful.
We're gonna put a little red in this beaker, a little green in this one, a little yellow in that
Every
one.
lab I've ever been in is not that exciting. All the liquid is just like clear.
There's somebody under that table, like,
The brain is ready.
blown into a tube.
Patient is ready.
Good.
Are brains supposed to pulse like that?
No. But I think she said something like, I've been keeping it alive.
This is your brain on Red Bull.
Alright, now we got the colorful helmet.
He always senses when we operate.
You gotta put the Rasta helmet on him.
What dog? Where's his dog?
I'm very upset, Maria. I haven't your nerves.
Go silence him.
Yes.
Not as brave as you, younger sister. I'm gonna, like, always keep saying that now.
He's got the lab coat, he's got the... Dexter had a little bow tie. Did he? No, he didn't.
Don't. I'm not. I want to, but I hate it, so I won't. I won't say it.
Ooh, I do.
Won't
I
say
do.
it.
I want
Say
to
it if
start.
you want,
But
Evan, but I hate it.
Island boy. There it is. just get a quick one in.
I hate it. It is a Rasta helmet, though.
It really is.
Now, at the next stroke of lightning, we shall have the answer.
This bomba clot doctor in a Rasta helmet.
Don't do it, Maria. You are going too far. No one should tamper with the
Maria,
laws of
that's
God.
Maria von Frankenstein. See that electric.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was an effect earlier or if that was like a real thing.
The guy Kenneth Strickfaden doubled for Boris Karloff in the original creation scene because there were like sparks shooting down and Boris Karloff was afraid. So Kenneth Strickfaden just
got green.
You are no
well,
longer
he was all covered in
Hans
bandages,
Tracy.
so. But they still had to make his head look square.
Evil. Do you understand me? Evil.
You are
That is
evil.
how you will be known. I am Maria Frankenstein. As I think, you will think. We are one. I will command. You will obey.
Was the original Frankenstein about like mind control?
Not mind control, but brain transplant. Abbott Costello meets Frankenstein is a little more like this, where Dracula uses mind control and he wants a brain transplant, and he wants a simple brain that he can control easily.
I command you to arise.
Amiga!
I am Maria Frankenstein. I created you.
Wanna put out
I
this
command
fat
you to
spliff.
get up. Get up, Igor.
Could you imagine?
Oh, it's working. Dude, look at his head.
That's that scar. That's the. If you don't have a lot of budget and you made the Frankenstein's monster, that's what you do. You shave the guy bald and you put a scar around his head. And if you make it square, you'll get sued by the person.
Get the digitalis. We must save him.
We're never gonna find a man this giant again. Uh-oh. Here he goes again. This crazy character.
Let me have it.
No.
Why not?
Oh, we're wasting time.
Let me do it. I want to do it.
So that's it. No.
Also, that was like the wrong kind of flask. You wouldn't put anything in that. It was like a filter flask.
He's alive! Alive! Get him, Egon! Get him! Get him!
I gotta do what the boss says.
This man has not worn a shirt. Has he worn a shirt for this entire movie?
No, pretty much not. Like, he had that fight scene, just fisticuffs, barrel chest out. And then, yeah, he's been wounded, so. And it's an excuse. This was the beefcake era in the 60s. It's like,
oh no!
You're gonna take some beefy guy and you're gonna change his name from whatever Finkelstein to Cal Boulder. That wasn't really the guy's original name, but his name here is Cal Boulder.
That's his acting
not a real name. That's his acting.
That's the fakest name I've ever heard.
Right. Well, that was the thing. Rock Hudson is not a real name.
No, it's like a wrestling name.
Rory Calhoun is not a real name.
Come, Igor.
Yeah, he pretty much just sounds the same. That lobotomy brain transplant didn't really do a whole lot.
Mind control doesn't affect the way my speech sounds.
I just like hanging out with this woman.
She's gone. Probably with him.
She's real pretty.
Jolly good riddance to them both. But I still have you, Igor. Come.
Where the fuck has the sheriff been this whole time?
Finally, we get some.
My brain was simple, and that's how I knew I would be perfect for mind control.
I'm glad we did at least get an establishing shot here.
Jesse James riding into town, you gotta have that.
It's one of those things, you know, you don't really like notice it until it's not there.
Right. And you're like, what the fuck is
like,
happening?
where are we? What is this scene? Yeah, this lady is a creeper. You know, it gets lonely up here in the castle, over the little western
I
village.
really use myself a nice man or outlaw.
Or giant.
What do you want? Giant. Or both.
Just a little dingly
Sorry,
door.
Ding, 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 ding. I gotta have this medicine to get my
Yeah, I'm gonna make you work for it. You can't just press a button.
No, it's just that I haven't got the medicine handy. If you sit down and wait.
Will it take long?
No, just sit there. I'll be right back with the medicine.
It's big. It's ginormous. It's, well, you'll see. It's not that. Right. Insert. What's an adjective here? I don't know my grammar very well.
Oh, this guy's back.
This clown.
This rat.
This
All right,
Riddler.
Let's go.
This purple-shirted
Shouldn't we
man.
wait till Sheriff Buchanan and the marshal get back?
No, I don't think so. They're
I'm
not going to be
kill
back for
Jesse
hours.
James myself.
You see, Jensen, someone gave him a tip that they knew where Jesse James was hiding out.
How wealthy do you have to be to have a purple shirt
Medium
and
tall,
the, like,
young, dark.
what is this?
Looks like
the
he's been riding a long way.
18-somethings?
I'll tell you something else. He looked plenty tough.
Jensen, you see this?
See
is
this,
made to
you old
take care of
bitch?
tough guys.
I don't want to get mixed up in any gunplay, especially not in my store. I'm a married man.
You're going to do exactly what I say. And
I've got a gun. I can do whatever I want.
Gunplay. Jesse James of all people.
Now, Jensen, you listen to me.
Yeah, this man is
There's
royalty.
$10,000 reward for Jesse James. I'm going to collect it, and you're going to help me.
What do you want me to do?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But I do want you to go back over there and make him up some kind of medicine. Anything. Just act like nothing happened. And don't be so nervous.
I'm married, damn it. Don't make me do this.
What about you?
I'm gonna get
Don't
killed.
you worry about me. I'll be there.
He's definitely expendable.
And Jensen,
If anybody's
I want you to listen to me and remember
it's
this.
old man Jensen.
If anything
Yeah,
goes wrong,
this very,
I'm going to hold you personally responsible.
unnotable old timer.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
He kind of blends into the background. It's gonna be hard to notice when he's gone.
Yeah, right? I mean,
Just these minor characters.
this came out of nowhere. I should probably have my glasses on, and I probably should have drinking some alcohol today. That's why you see the trimmers.
I've got no idea what I'm doing.
Yes, you didn't see
How long is it gonna
poison
take?
on this vial.
Not
I
very
just poured
long.
it in.
I gotta measure this, you know.
I don't have a scale, but I use my eyes. You fool! Of course Jesse's gonna be faster.
Told
than
you,
me.
Jensen. Get
Bitch, you died. Old man Jensen lived.
Please, Jesse.
Yes.
Don't shoot me.
How did you know my name?
Bitch sold you out. Threw you under the bridge.
Yeah, maybe next time try sneaking up behind the guy you're trying to shoot.
Gotcha, bitch. So what happens when you try to make a grand entrance?
I'm just gonna
Throw the
poke
door
out right in
open.
front of this guy.
They didn't give you all the time you needed to be able to pull your gun out and shoot when you're the fastest draw in the West. Gotcha, bitch! It's like, you thought you could kill Jesse James? You're a fool.
Juanita.
I came to warn you. You must not go back.
What do you mean? Is Hank all right?
No, what they did to Hank, you can't believe it. It's terrible. If you go back, they do the same thing to you.
What are you talking about?
Hank is not Hank anymore.
I have to go back.
If you do, I go to the marshal at Shelby for help. I know what it'll mean if I bring him back with me. But I'd rather see you dead than see you looking like Hank.
I still have to go back to him.
It is actually crazy to think
sorry,
about, like,
Jesse.
you're having to
I must
control
do
a live animal, and
I
you
love
hope
you too
that
much
it's
not
docile enough that it's just gonna sit there while you deliver your lines as an actor.
Yeah, and this horse doesn't even get an acting credit.
And that's the truth, Marshal. Please, please believe me.
Too bad you didn't tell me about
These
this. when I
horses
came
have
to
to
your house.
unionize.
I know, I was wrong.
Right,
God,
where's the
forgive me.
horse actors union? The animal union. I'm sure there's an animal actors union.
Thank you, Marshal.
Honestly,
You
there
know
probably
there
is.
You know there is.
That's enough, Eagle. Quick, Eagle, into the house. Get in there. Be quiet. If I need you, I will call you. Who is it? What do you want?
It's Jesse James.
Oh, I didn't think about this. What if Jesse comes back?
On the rocks.
I'm
Jesse's
glad
back.
you're back.
No thanks to you.
Yes, I
Yeah,
know
sweet
what you're
feet.
thinking.
Horse names
But
are the
it was
best.
Rudolph.
It's always the weirdest
He
thing.
forced me to write that note.
I want to see Hank right now.
Well, Hank is not here. He and Rudolph left together.
I don't believe you.
I swear it.
All right, if you won't tell me where he is, I'll find him.
Why do you treat me like this? When you know how I feel about you?
Ooh.
I don't think that you got it.
Igor!
Right, then I'll show you out. Once and for all, what did you do to Hank? I want to know.
And that's also a classic Universal Frankenstein's monster move, is the double hand. Flop. Just takes somebody down like
Put him on the table.
Although, to be fair, he at least touched them. You know, earlier in the movie,
Right.
they were swinging wide
big
and
shot.
not.
Yeah, right. That punch that knocked him down but didn't even hit the shoulder. His hairline was already thinning dramatically. If anything, the brain change helped.
Igor! Go to your room. Your room, Igor.
You're grounded.
Igor, you fool.
Save your strength, Jesse James. You will need it. Yes. I knew who you were from the very first. You see, we have something in common. We're both outside the law. That's why I offered you a chance to join me.
Which honestly is a very interesting
But you
character
chose to
dynamic.
refuse me.
That they're both against the
You,
law,
an
so
outlaw.
Yeah, I guess that is
Me,
true.
There's
Maria
stakes.
Frankenstein, granddaughter of a count. I will use you in my next experiment. You see, Jesse
I'm saying
James,
she's
I have
true in the
won
scenery.
after all.
Yeah,
She's relishing.
she loves it.
And again, this was her last movie too.
Delightfully evil.
So many people that did this was their last movie. It's wild. Not his. He was in Airport 1975 in a big role. Airport 75,
Where's Hank?
which also has
What have you done with him?
George
We'll see
Kennedy.
Hank soon.
More 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Sweet dreams, Jesse James. Perhaps of Juanita.
She does. Yeah, she does look like that bitch.
Got work to do.
Got the same energy for sure. She's got that.
The poison for Jesse.
Bitch's
Jesse's
name,
poison.
She doesn't see.
Eartha Kitt, who played Isma. Yeah, she's got that Eartha Kitt energy for sure.
Who is it?
Me, Doctor. Marshal McPhee.
I have nothing to say. Go away. I'm in the midst of an important experiment.
That's not gonna alarm the marshal.
Yeah, that's that's not suspicious at all.
I've been told you're harboring Jesse James and Hank Tracy.
Who told you?
Juanita Lopez.
Jesse's scared. I didn't even think about that. That's great.
That's great.
Well, just the same, I intend to search this place.
Well, search all you care to. I'll show you.
No, I'm not the
That's
marshal.
just
My
exactly
name
what
is
I'm
Marshal.
gonna do.
Well, shall we start with my laboratory?
Come back with a warrant, Marshal.
My name is Marshal Mathers, and I'm the marshal of this here territory. Yeehaw!
Well, Jesse, finally caught up with you.
Igor!
Oh shit.
What did you say?
Nothing?
Nothing.
The shadow was nice. It was a good shot.
The one time they used shadows.
Yeah, that was the only shadow in this
Otherwise,
entire
we're just
movie.
Glass light on this set, no shadows at all.
Half of Juanita's role has just been to hang in a doorway.
Yeah, and just be horrified by
Yeah.
everything that's been happening.
Take him in there.
Jesse,
Yes.
what have I done to you?
Right. You know, that pink line doesn't do any favors at all. And I mean, honestly, with that Bill chode, right? I mean...
Get Juanita.
He's got that circumcised head.
Juanita. Hank!
Juanita.
Kill Juanita. Kill her. Kill Juanita. Jesse! Jesse!
Maria is killing it, though. Those eyes are crazy.
That's what I'm saying. She's committed.
No! Please!
Kill.
So she.
Kill.
It's me, Jesse, Hank.
You know me.
Kill. No. Hank, it's me, Jesse James, your friend.
Crazy eyes.
He's turned into Arlo Guthrie.
Hank.
Kill!
Kill!
Hank,
Kill!
kill you.
I don't want to kill you. Oh no. Hey.
Oh, is Juanita gonna save the day?
Well, Jesse's gonna get throttled.
Oh, Jesse!
Stomp on the set floor.
Juanita.
Aww.
Juanita.
He might be dangerous.
Oh, Jesse.
Man, poor Hank. He really got the short end of the stick.
He really did. He hitched his wagon to fucking Jesse James. He should have
Classic
known
mistake.
that enough, but to become victim of Frankenstein's granddaughter? Who would have thought
Who sees that coming?
Who would have seen it coming?
Our village is free once more.
Right?
Thanks to you.
It's like, yeah, how'd you get that
And
wicked
Hank,
scar? Why are you still
my
bald?
people will come
My
back
hair
here.
won't grow back. This isn't my original
Yes,
scalp. This was of some bald
I
guy
will
whose
be waiting
scalp
for you.
that I now have. So I only grow hair around my
Look,
ears.
I am an
and
outlaw
I'd
with a rope
rather
waiting
just
for
be
me.
bald.
That's not what I want to hear.
They ride off into the sunset.
I love you, Juanita.
You love her? Don't you say that if you don't mean it. Get
And there he
outta here.
goes.
Yeah, what? You
Wow.
can't say I
What?
love you and walk away. Well, I guess the sheriff got him, right?
Oh, okay. He's got to go be in jail now.
Te amo, mi vida. Go with
I'll
God.
love you for life. Go.
You'll get out. He's Jesse James.
Wow. Wow. Jesse James meets Frankenstein's daughter.
Wow.
Did it live up to the hype, Evan?
You know what? That was a fun ride. I really enjoyed that movie.
It really was. There was plenty of melodrama, plenty of, you know, with Jesse James you expect gunfights, with Frankenstein you expect brain surgery and mad scientist creation scenes.
Yeah, definitely all that.
Check. So...
Checked a lot of boxes. I will say, so earlier when... When I said that,
okay, I'll start it over.
When I said that I was worried that the Native American character was just going to show up with no preamble, get killed, and we're just going to move on and not mention it again. That is actually what happened.
Pretty
so
much. Well, I mean, all those other Native Americans came in afterward.
I mean,
But
true,
then it was over. But then it never came into play again.
Yeah.
So. But you have to expect it with a Western. It's going to be shoehorn. If it's not the main
it's going to be about the white people, though. The Native Americans aren't going to get any
people, and if the Native
time.
Americans are not part of the main conflict, they're going to be shoehorned in at a point where
we're also here.
So we gotta bring things up. So we'll throw in some Native Americans to attack everybody, and it doesn't really
give our hero a chance to
look heroic.
Look heroic, win the heart of the girl.
Right. And
yeesh.
hey,
is that a yikes? Is that a yikes moment?
I mean, it would be if I had it on this scene, but if you would have told me during the show, I'd definitely give it a yikes. But that was the nature of Western movies. That's what it's all about. Yeah, I mean, that movie, right? I mean, it's a mashup, right? And because the whole idea of like movie crossovers, character crossovers in movies, you realize what that started with?
What?
That started with Universal's monster movies. That started with Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. That was the first cinematic crossover of...
So that was a Universal movie.
It was Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, yeah, was a Universal movie. And that began the whole thing. They did a couple other movies where they crossed over characters, brought a whole bunch in. You got these movies... But now we see it in the modern day, what crossover culture, crossover
Freddy
movies.
versus Jason.
Freddy versus Jason, but even in Marvel, right?
Sure, okay,
the idea of,
yeah.
But in, like, media, in movie... I mean, even in comic books, it didn't start until the 50s, the 60s. The antecedents, like, the preceding things you see in pop culture are these Universal monster movies that started saying... What happens if we took this popular character and this popular character that aren't related in any way, but just mash them together? What's going to happen? So that's like what they were operating off of here. They knew they were making a cheap movie. They said, what happens if we take A and B, things that aren't related, Western and horror, put them together? What do we get? You get Jesse James meets Frankenstein.
I mean, it turned out to be pretty fun.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So
and you said this was filmed in 8 days?
8 days.
That is insane.
8 days and either concurrently or one after the other with Billy the Kid versus Dracula. I think antecedent is like I don't know. Is it like preceding? Don't you get me in a whole
from
dictionary
history class.
thing
It's
now,
that time before the Civil War, I think.
Oh yeah, antecedent, the antecedent era. Yeah, I remember that. God damn it. Yeah. So final verdict, Evan. Jesse James meets Frankenstein's daughter. Out of the movies that we've seen so far, I mean, where do you put it?
Let's see. I'm sorry, what was week 1? We watched
Video
Man.
Week 1
and we watched...
was Horror Hotel, City of the Dead.
That's it, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, out of the 3 we've watched so far, I think that this is definitely I've enjoyed the most.
Most fun.
It gets a thumbs up for me.
The Western aspect really brings a lot in that you can have fun with, and I had fun with it. I mean, again, it was the first color movie we've watched, so I'm sure that didn't hurt. Yeah, antecedent. Oh, look at that. Yeah. Okay.
Little etymology lesson.
I mean, what is that? Is there a Latin in there? Evan?
I mean, do you want the actual answer? That's all Latin.
Okay, yeah, no, that's what boom. There we go. You would know. I don't fucking know shit about Latin, but I know that you and I know that S-Sync94 knows Latin. So.
Ante Cato.
So it backs up what I said. Don't fresh checking me on my synonyms. I know my synonyms. You don't fact check me, fresh. No, I'm just kidding. Please.
Welcome back to our etymology stream.
I need all the fact checking I can get. So, yeah. Ooh, Sweet. I know for a fact that Sweet Feet knows Latin. Sweet Feet is one of the most accomplished Latin speakers that I know. So, if you guys want any Latin speaking tips, you go to
hit
Sweet
him up
Feet.
in the chat.
Please hit him up because he's the man. He'll pinky promise with you too, and that's a pinky promise from all of us. So hell yeah! Well, that was Jesse James meets Frankenstein's daughter. Next week we're going back to Poverty Road. We're gonna get another 40s movie, a little movie called Dead Men Walk, and it is a vampire film. Should be again, those 40s films can be kind of boring, but it's got one of the guys from last week, another famous horror movie guy. Right. Yeah, no, it is a banger name. The movie,
it is a good name.
It's basically like a Dracula play off. It's...
we blew our budget on the name.
Right. In those public domain movies, for sure.
We're already in Poverty Row. What were we thinking?
It's like, do you understand how much it costs to license the name Dead Man Walk? There was some shitty novel, we said, we'll pay $5,000, but that's the whole budget. We only have $1,000 to finish the rest of the movie. So you better finish this in 5 days or else. And they did. Again, the beauty of public domain movies and independent film at the time is just doing it so quickly, so economical, getting it done. All you have is one location. All you have is 4 actors, and you better fucking scare the shit out of people, or at least make the kids scared. Because, again, the target audience for most of the things that we'll watch here is children. So... if it's going to scare the kiddies, then it's at least going to make us laugh. So have fun with it. That's what it's all about.
Well, it sounds like a blood-curdling time.
And it will be. We'll see. We'll see the quality copy we can find for it. Hopefully, we'll see what Golden Age Classics can do. They're refining their process. They haven't put out a new movie in a while because they are trying to improve how they restore movies. So hopefully they'll get Dead Men Walk done in a week. I won't bank on it, but if they do, then that's what we'll bring to you. If not, then we'll bring you the best quality copy we can find. Other than that, Evan, anything before we sign off?
Thanks for having me, and
right. Thank you for being here, man. Thank you guys for joining us. Fresh, Sierra, Sweet Feet, you guys. You make it a lot of fun.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, the chat really is a great way. This is supposed to be an interactive experience. That's what it's all about. And again, if I drone on too long about stuff, you guys are in the chat to let me know. So please. And Fresh has been really great about helping us with the technical stuff and trying to make sure that we're not echoing and doing the same old bullshit. And I think we're making headway, but I'm not going to jinx it because I've been jinxing it. So yeah, so I won't say anything else. But thank you guys so much. Evan, thank you so much. Anything before we go?
This week I want everybody to focus on forming a love polyhedron. Get that love octagon. Get that love rhombus going.
Broaden your horizons. Open it up. We're living in a great modern age, so you might as well. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. And, we'll have a mini-sode on Wednesday, so if you're free, join us for that. And otherwise, we'll be back here on Friday to bring you more horror for your Friday nights. So enjoy the rest of your weekend, and hopefully we'll see you guys next week.
Jesse.
Jesse. Later.